Hi, my name is Greg Haver, and over the next few days we're going to look at the production process of a song from beginning to end. The first thing I'm going to do today is listen to the demo of the song and sketch out an arrangement and look at the tempo, which would be the first part of the process. So I'm just sketching the bars out with a pen and paper. It's a really old-fashioned way of doing it. That's the way I learnt back in the 1980s when I used to sketch out arrangements for hardware sequencers in the same way. And you'd pop your bar numbers above each section, so when you were cutting and pasting sections you kind of knew where you were in the song because you only really waited. And I just kept that technique going for the last 20-30 years and it still works for me. The beauty of it is really the ability to look at the piece of paper and see the arrangement of the song and visualize it in some way. I often find that I know the arrangement of the song better than the band do after a couple of runs by doing it this way. It's very easy to see where you are, see which sections might need working on, where extra bars happen, where any turnarounds happen. And it works for me, and as a producer it's important you find methods that work for you, that make the process easier. I must have 30 or 40 of these books full of notes and song arrangements that I've built up. And there's still something quite tactile about using pen and paper. So what I've just done is I've sketched out a basic arrangement for the song based on the demo. I use an old shorthand that I developed in the 80s. Actually another producer showed me back then, where we used to use a lot of hardware-based sequencers. Basically one dash on the paper corresponds to one bar. I mean, it's a really basic way of doing it, but I got used to doing it for years and years and years, and it's just the way that I can envisage the song really easily. So now I can just stare at this bit of paper, I can see where the verse chorus arrangements are, where there's any breakdowns. It's always the first point that I use for just looking at the song arrangement. Everyone's got their own ways of doing it. This way just particularly works for me. Pen and paper is often the best way rather than trying to do everything in computers. I often like to have a book with me when I'm working on tracks. It's really easy to sketch out ideas and it's really instant, and it just works better for me. It's just the way that I'm used to looking at basic song arrangements. So what I've done at this stage is sketch out the arrangement from the demo, worked out a basic BPM, which in this case is around 130, and we'll actually go into the computer and get an exact BPM from this demo, because I'm actually thinking of using some of the logic files from this original session, which we may end up using or may not, depending on how the process develops. A really good way I find to actually find what those basic sonic points should be is to just look at the band's website, look at their social networking pages, and they'll often list their influences on those pages, and it's really easy to go there and just listen to some artists that they like, or just get the band to send you some songs. I often get a band to say, if we're doing an album, say, send me 10 songs that you really love the sound of, that you really enjoy, that inspire you musically. So basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run a few songs and sit with Clint Murphy, who's engineering the session, and we're going to discuss a few approaches musically. And so I've got a start point for how we're going to key off initial ideas for the session. So once I've done the arrangements and the BPMs, I'm going to have a listen to some other songs, and then that'll be the next part of the process.